What's going on, guys? It has been a hot minute, and by that I probably mean months, since I've done a bit of a sit-down chit-chat with whoever wants to watch it. So much has happened. I don't even know the last video that I did, what it was, but so much has happened since then. I know I've been uploading TikTok shorts and things like that, just because they're quicker to make and easier and don't involve lots of sort of sit down and talking and stuff. But while I'm on my own this weekend, daughter is with dad, fiance is at work, I thought I would sit down and take you through a little bit about what's going on. So we moved house. We had to get out because our landlord couldn't afford the mortgage anymore. None of us think that's true. We just think he kind of gave up having to worry about the property because lots was going wrong. The front door needed changing. Things were breaking. He changed the washing machine, but needed a lot of encouragement to do that. So yeah, he sold up, and pretty much within a couple of days of it going on sale, it sold. So what we thought would have months, in fact we had weeks. I found this place. It dates from the 14th century. That might be wrong. It's 400 years old, basically. It's an old building that has been converted into flats or apartments, I guess you could call them. It's very, very expensive, but we love it. It's huge. It has communal grounds where there's a swing and picnic tables and lovely neighbours. So we're all sitting out when the weather is good. Sitting outside, having a little chit chat. Daughter is the happiest I've ever seen her. We just bought a new sofa off Facebook Market for 50 quid and it's gorgeous. So there's still lots to do, still lots of unpacking. We're going to do a car boot at some point. We've got to throw loads away. But what coincided with that was some symptoms that I was feeling. So I was frequently urinating, mainly at night, 3 or 4 times a night, waking me up, obviously. Drinking. This thing alone, bigger than my head, is 40 ounces. I was going through about 4 of these, which if you know me, you know that I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. I'm never thirsty. I'm never that bothered. I never get dehydrated as such because my body's been used to not being thirsty. So the fact that I've gone from 0 to 4 of those, plus coffees, teas, sugary drinks, not all the time, but at night I'd want something sweet. So I would grab a 7-Up or something without sucralose. What else? I was getting thrush. I had thrush 3 consecutive months. It's not taboo. We get it. We should talk about it. There's no embarrassment on my behalf. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Got treated for that with different creams and medications and things. My eyes were blurry, but I couldn't explain it. It wasn't necessarily a vision thing. It was more like things had a haze around them. So they prescribed me these glasses, which don't help at all. Right now, I am super duper blurry. I really can't see myself. I can just see a blur of a blue hoodie and a head with glasses on it. My features are blurred. What else was going on? Eating. Unusual amounts of hunger for me with IBS. I normally just struggle to eat breakfast, but I was shoveling in so much food. And for a woman who has a back injury, I'm still suffering with sciatica despite having a back injection. It hasn't done anything, didn't help at all. That's probably another video for another time. So the fact that I'm inactive, I was also losing weight. I lost about 6 pounds in about 6 weeks. So for someone that's not really doing an awful lot, not really moving an awful lot, that was strange. So all of these symptoms tied up into, you probably guessed it, I can hear everybody shouting it, diabetes. I had a routine blood test. Routine, not really. I asked for it. I said, I think I'm diabetic and I need a blood test. They did the blood test on the Wednesday. Monday morning at 8:01, as soon as the GP opened, I get a call. Can you come into the doctor's surgery today? We need to see you. of course, something is wrong. They never call you. They text you and say your results are like satisfactory, which is what I get with my thyroid. Your results are fine, basically. So the fact that they're calling me the minute they've opened, I was worried. So shot down to the doctors. The lovely nurse who gave me the blood test said, your results are ridiculous. Your blood is so high. Your blood glucose level is so high. You need to go to the hospital. I think, probably naive of me, that I'm just going to be there a couple of hours. They're going to diagnose me with diabetes because she's already said you're borderline, like you're probably type 1. I had ketones in my urine, which is never good for anybody. And my blood glucose level was plus 25. To give you a context, it should be between 5 and 10. So this is how bad we're talking. I go to East Surrey Hospital with my daughter, thinking that I'm going to be there 1, maybe 2 hours. I told her when we get out of this place, I'll take her to the park. We'll go get a McDonald's or whatever because she's been such a good girl. I go and see a doctor who runs through all of my symptoms with me, runs through my blood, says, that's not good. So we're going to have to do more bloods. And then we'll discuss where we go from there. But can you not eat and can you not drink? Because I want to see what your bloods are like without food or drink. Okay, that's fine. So bearing in mind, this is probably about 11 a.m. Thankfully, it was pretty quiet at that point in the hospital. Most of you know when you go into a walk-in or you go into an A&E, it's pretty rammed with people of all different problems. My fiance leaves work because I'm on my own with my daughter, and it's not somewhere that you want your kids being, if you know what I mean. There's lots of people with cannulas, catheters, drips, none of which I had explained to my daughter. So my fiance arrives, they get some food because I hadn't prepared anything. I wasn't expecting to be rushed from the doctors to the hospital. The bloods come back, still not good, still ketones in my blood and my urine. And it gets to mid-afternoon and I'm told that we're going to admit you. We need to get you on an insulin drip with potassium because insulin cancels out potassium and then you've got all other problems. And you're going to be staying the night. And I don't think it really sunk in. I was like, oh, they're just saying that, like, I'll have some water and I'll have some fruit and, you know, we'll be fine. You need to trust me because I've probably been living with this now for months without really realising it. And now it's got busy. People are being admitted. And I'm sat in a corridor on a chair. Everyone else has reclined chairs that make beds. They're all having a bit of a snooze because they've all had a long day. I'm sitting in a chair. They've done all the bloods they're going to do at that point, but I'm not offered food or drink. And this is where the problem started. I'd been in the hospital 7 hours with no food and no drink. And if I'm querying being diabetic, the one thing that I probably needed was food and drink. So it gets to the point now where my head is banging. There is no headache in the world that I can link to the feeling of a diabetic headache. It was awful. So I said to the nurse, like, can I go home, please? I want to take my daughter home. I want to cook myself a bowl of pasta. I want to have some water and some juice, whatever. And I'll come back in the morning and we'll continue what we're doing right now. And she said no, basically. If you go home, your bloods are so high that you run the risk of going into a diabetic coma. And when somebody tells you that, you kind of listen. So I sent home my fiance with my daughter and said, come back in like 2 hours with a bag. I'm going to need some pajamas. I'm going to need a toothbrush. I'm going to need maybe some slippers, maybe a book or a pad or something because I only had my phone. I need my charger. I was running out of battery. My parents want a cruise, so I wasn't getting any signal to let them know what was going on. So Becky had to do everything. She brought me back a gorgeous bag full of things that kept me occupied. My cup with some drink in it that was sugar-free, low sugar, everything. We were doing our best to get my sugars down. What happened then was probably awful. The most, I had something like, I still have the bruise I don't know if you can see it right there where they stuck a needle in the side of my arm. I had a cannula in this hand. I had another cannula in this part, and then they just used hands and other parts for more bloods. And then every hour, on the hour, I had a prick test to check my bloods, and they weren't really moving. They were sort of going 13, 12. They got down as low as 7 and then started shooting back up again. So I stayed the night. I didn't sleep very well. I didn't get much sleep at all because the poor nurse was waking me up every hour to test my bloods. I had breakfast. Everything in the hospital is not really catered for diabetics / lactose intolerant people. And I tick both those boxes, unfortunately. So the porridge is made with milk. I can't eat whole wheat bread because it upsets my IBS. So I had to go for, unfortunately, a non-diabetic option, which is white bread with butter. So that also wasn't helping the sugars, but I had to eat something. I hadn't really eaten. As I said before, there was no dinner option because I'd got admitted so late. So I literally just, I think Becky bought me a bag of crisps. She bought me some fruit. Nothing much, nothing at all to call a meal. And then they injected me with my first lot of insulin because the pump had finished. I was done with the pump, the potassium, the pump, everything. They didn't wire me back up again. So they injected me with my first injection full of insulin. It was okay. I have to say it was painless, pain-free almost. I mean, you feel a needle going into your arm, but the needles are dinky. And I will show you in a second just how dinky they are. And Becky came back at 9 a.m. because the ward I was on didn't have usual visiting hours. It was like an emergency ward, if you like. So you're there on sort of rare occasion that you might need to be admitted. So visiting hours are open. She could have stayed the night if she'd wanted to. I wouldn't let her. They only really had like one of them tall back chairs that they have in hospitals. That was going to hurt her back. And I wasn't happy about that. So I said, go home, please, go to bed, get some sleep. Now, the thing people don't realise is it's all very well being the patient, but you can't look after the patient if you're not well yourself. So you need to stay fed, you need to stay watered, and you need to stay rested. So I sent her home to do those 3 things. I sent her home to get some sleep because without that, you are no use to me. I can't have you drive me home and crash the car because you've not slept. I understand people are worried, family, relatives, everyone's worried, but you need to look after yourself so you can look after the person in trouble or having the problem. I needed her to eat because she hadn't eaten properly because she'd been with me, and I needed her to get some drinking because she'd not done that either. So when people in hospital send you home, it's on your best interest to go. Believe me, I would have loved it if she'd have stayed. So she came back at 9 a.m. And then we just waited. I had my insulin, like I said. And then somebody kept coming around to talk to me about my bloods and the fact that my levels weren't lowering and that I could stay in a second night. Then a diabetic nurse came round and gave me all my goodies to go home with, and it's very overwhelming. There is a lot to take home. You go from being fine on the Monday to leaving hospital on the Tuesday, a diabetic type 1, with all the goodies in the world that you need to basically tick along now that we've been diagnosed. And here we are. So that was the first week of the 6 weeks holidays. I only work term time, so I get all of the summer holidays off. This is the end of the second week, so it's the Saturday. So I've been diabetic now for 2 weeks on Monday. And it's a lot to take on board. So there's a lot to learn dietary wise. I still haven't found my normal sugar level because it takes time for your bloods to level. So we're still sort of teetering on a little bit too high and normal. We're not going low. I had a bit of a hypo yesterday, which was when my bloods dropped to below 5, and that is not great. I felt very faint. I felt very hot. I had a thumping head, and my body was basically calling for sugar. So I ate a couple of sweets. At that point, thankfully, Becky had come home from work and rammed a Kit Kat into my face. And within sort of minutes, I felt much, much better. But it happened so quickly. It was scary. So with that, let me take you through a bit of the kit, because if you're thinking that some of the symptoms that I went through before you're experiencing, or if you've got 1 or 2 of them, you don't even have to have all of them. I think I was just lucky that I had 5 out of 6 symptoms. The only one I don't have is that if I cut myself, I'm not taking ages to heal. I heal quite quickly. I like to refer to myself as Wolverine. But that's the 6th one. So it's urinating frequently, eating more, weight loss, unplanned weight loss or unexpected. So if you're on a diet and you're losing weight, that's planned weight loss. So unplanned weight loss. Thrush was another one. And then there's a 5th one, and I was ticking all 5 boxes. So what you get when you leave hospital, like I said, if you're experiencing any of the symptoms, just talk to your doctor. Tell them that you want a blood test because you think you have an inkling that you might be diabetic, and they should have no issue with getting you a blood test done. You leave with a nice little pouch. Inside said pouch is your prick testing kit. So the strips you need, the monitor, and this is where your needles go. The needles come in here, but I have some anyway. They are absolutely dinky. If it will, you twist this cap off, pop it into your pen, load up the pen, and then you just punch your finger. Then you pop your strip into the top of the monitor right there, and then it tells you your blood count. This is a very funky machine in that it also tests my ketones. I don't understand what ketones are, but nevertheless, they're bad. So you want it to say low or 0. Thankfully, since being discharged from hospital, mine have been low. So that's excellent. I'm not sure if they're still in my urine or not, but in my bloods, they're low. So we'll take it. So you get that nice little fancy kit from the hospital when you leave. They show you how to prick test yourself. They show you how to use the monitor. You also get a notebook right here, and you have to log down your blood test results, your prick test results. So I started off when I came out of hospital doing it super frequently. Before breakfast, after breakfast, before lunch, after lunch, before dinner, after dinner, and before bed. I am not waking up in the middle of the night to do in the middle of the night. No. But since we've gone on, and you can see my levels are starting to level out a little bit to a point, we've started to just do before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and before bed. What you will find if you do all the top line, your fingers are sore because you are frequently pricking them with a little needle and bleeding them. I tend to use these 3 and these 3. I found the 4th finger way too sensitive, and you're not going anywhere near my little finger that's had surgery on it. So I tend to alternate between left hand and right hand. My right hand is less sensitive because it's my dominant. Yes. And my left is a little bit, it's not painful at all because it's just literally a little stab. But it's definitely more sensitive. It's also more sensitive when my fingers are really, really hot. So if I've just washed up, I've just had a shower, I find it more painful, which I thought would be the opposite. I thought it would be more painful if my hands were cold, but nevertheless. Right now, a very good time to do it because they're nice and pink, which means they will bleed easily. If your fingers are white, sometimes if I'm really cold, my fingers go white, they will not bleed. You have to have your fingers nice and pink, maybe warm them up a little bit, maybe blow on them, get them nice and pink. Write down your results because my diabetic nurse keeps calling me and wants to know the numbers. Now, I'm not talking about, I had a 10, I had a 12. She wants to know, was it 5.4? Was it 9.6? Was it 10.7? She wants to know the decibels, everything. It's very thorough. And by that, they can estimate how much insulin you stab yourself with. This was the biggest thing to get over, stabbing yourself. I think a lot of people have a vision in their head that it's gonna really, really hurt and it's gonna suck. And I've had days when my body has been super sensitive and the last thing it wants in the world is to stab it with a pen full of fluid. But you get it done. You find something in you and you think, do you know what? In 5 seconds, this would have ejected into me. I'll feel better. I can have some food and we can get on with our day. It's 3, 2, 1, stab. This doesn't come with a hypo on it. You get them in a nice little box. They are literally this big. I'm not going to waste one just to show you, but you screw it on. You set it to 2, so 2 clicks. You pump it in case there's any air bubbles or airlock. And then I'm on 5 mils of this 3 times a day. So I inject before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner. There is another pen that I have to inject 15 mils into me in one go. It's a slow releasing insulin. It's a different pen. And I do that every morning before breakfast. So I do 15 mils of one pen, 5 mils of another pen. I prick test, and that's all before breakfast. Yeah, it's a lot to get your head around. I have a little pot full of my prick test needles, and my hypodermics that go onto my syringe. They've given me a sharps bin, obviously, because you can't throw them away in the regular bin. But I'm going away soon on a holiday. And I was really looking forward to it. I guess I still am really looking forward to it, but there is a lot more to contend with right now. There's going to have to be food taken into account. Probably going to have to keep something on me on a regular basis. Whether I'm going too high, I need to drink water. Maybe go for a walk and bring it down. If I'm low, that's where these bad boys come in. Now, if you're not diabetic or you don't need fast releasing sugar, you probably wouldn't have heard of these. I went onto a website called Diabetic Supplies, and my parents kindly paid for this little bundle for me. So these are fast acting glucose tablets. I only bought a 10 tube because I want to see what they're like first. And as I haven't had many hypos, which is too low, not hyper, which is too high, I wasn't sure if I actually needed them. I thought they might have been a bit of a waste of money because I'm always too high, so I just need water and I just need exercise to burn off the sugar. But yesterday, after I had my hypo, my bloods went to below 5, I realised it might just be better just to keep them on me, just in case. So they were just over £1 for the 10 sweets, if it will focus. They are raspberry flavour, I believe. I think I got raspberry. I have no idea. Oh, there we go. Juicy raspberry. They had them in different flavours, but this one probably called to me the most. If I'm feeling a bit icky, probably like I did yesterday, one of these would have been perfect. However, this package arrived today. So I can't tell you if they work. Today's been okay. I haven't had any highs, I haven't had any lows. My blood sat nicely at around 7. So that's excellent. But I will keep these on me just when I'm out and about. If I skip lunch or if I'm somewhere where there's no food, anything can happen. Pop one of these inside you. They should raise your bloods to a healthy level, and then you get something inside you like a sandwich, or it'll kind of see you through until you get to food, basically. That's my understanding of those tablets. 2 super cute sharps bins, because obviously I'm going away and I need something portable because I'm going to be in a caravan. And I think those will be perfect. You open the slot, which way? That way. Pop your sharps in, close it up so no little prying fingers can get inside. I think these are super cute, and I'm assuming you just toss them away with your regular sharps bin, which I believe your local council come to collect from you because of the nature of the bin. That I need to set up. I haven't set that up yet. It's been a weird 2 weeks, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot to take on board. Then you have to think about how you're gonna cart this all around, okay? Because I'm a girl, I have bags. Do I have a bag suitable for this? No, I don't. That's where this came in. Perfect. It's expensive. It's about £30. But when I show you what it does, you are just going to think it's a regular bag. It actually feels really nice. I haven't used it yet, obviously. It came today. I've had a little looky. I'm very excited to use it now that I'm diabetic. There are some pros. We get all the funky gadgets. There's a top, just a top one there. I'm assuming your phone, wallet, keys, mints, stuff like that. This one opens up like a door. And then in here is your pouch. So you put your strips, your testing strips and everything in there. Then in here is your monitor. This is a little detachable Velcro bag thing. In here goes your pen. And yeah, that's that. This is all very cool. This is like a little zip pouch. And then obviously you've got underneath, which is stuck down with Velcro. That's probably the game changer, isn't it? Because you can get rid of that big black clunky wallet and stick it all in the bag. Then you have a top one. And occasionally these need refrigerating before you take them out and use them. So obviously I'm gonna possibly need to take one away with me, as well as one that I'm using, depending on how low I am in fluid. This one, as you can see, only has that much fluid left, so I'm gonna have to change pens pretty soon. And you have to keep them cold. So this one comes with a very cool, cool bag. So I'm gonna stick that in the freezer. And that's your insulated compartment for your jabs straight out the fridge. Ice pack, lovely jubbly, in it goes, so much room. And then in the back one, as you can see, it won't be insulated because it's not the insulated compartment. And that's just a nice little pouch. So you don't have to buy this stuff if you're newly diagnosed as diabetic. You don't have to buy this stuff. You're quite happy with what they give you, and you've got a bag that will take everything out with you. Perfect. However, knowing that all of this is quite clunky, and then we've got the pen, and then we've got needles and hypos, all of this in a normal bag would take up quite a lot of room, especially mine, because I'm a small, compact bag kind of girl. I just got my card holder, my keys and my phone, and a packet of mints because sometimes I get nauseous. That's it. So I don't have massive handbags or tote bags, and I don't like anything big. So the fact that you'd have to take all of this plus your keys, your wallet and your phone meant that I needed to get something that would purposefully hold this as well as the other stuff. And that is where this came in perfect. So if you want to go check out the website, if you know someone who's diabetic, or you've just been diagnosed, or you've been diagnosed 30 years ago, but you still need a bag, Diabetic Supplies. There's a couple of other websites that I've been looking at. Obviously, the Diabetes UK website. It has things as well. It has bags. It has test kits. If you don't like the one that you get from the NHS, you can buy your own. Or if you don't qualify for free stuff, you can get all your strips and all your needles from there. I think that's about it, really. That's about it. If you've stuck to the end of this video, I realise it's nearly half an hour long. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for staying. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. If you've got any advice, be careful, because I'm not one of these people that is asking for it. But if it makes sense and it would genuinely help me, also pop it in the comments or message me. Yeah, I was diabetic during my pregnancy, but I lied in my little booklet of my results, so it never looked as bad as it was because I didn't want to go on insulin. So I was gestational diabetic, and obviously they told me then that it would come back. I just assumed it would come back when I was 60, not when I was 40. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If this video does anything for you, give it a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.